daily dose of politics,
snark, and heavy metal music.
All rise, motherfucker.
For your hosts, Brandon
and Matt.
I belong.
Performer hasn't been provided with a script. As a matter of fact, I have been permitted to choose my own words and discuss my own ideas regarding the choice that we face in the next few weeks. I have spent most of my life as a Democrat. I recently have seen fit to follow another course.
The defense policy of the United States is based on a simple premise. The United States does not start fights. We will never be an aggressor.
As for the peace that we would preserve, I wonder who among us would like to approach the wife or mother whose husband or son has died in South Vietnam and ask them if they think this is a peace that should be maintained indefinitely. There can be no real peace while one American is dying someplace in the world for the rest of us. We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I must protect and preserve freedom here, or it will not be passed on to our children, and it will disappear everywhere in the world.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. Regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose.
We, the people. We, the people, tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We, the people, are the driver. The government is the car. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do.
This administration in Washington has betrayed the working men and women of this country.
I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts.
A recession is when your neighbor loses his job. A depression is when you lose yours. And recovery is when President of the United States loses his.
Someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. The martyrs of history were not fools. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
And the games have already begun.
The shenanigans have already started.
Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Machine. I think I'm Brandon today.
And I'm Matt.
That's Matt. And that's fucking Sean. We are not even started on the show yet, and we're both in tears because we're laughing back and forth with Sean. Hey, Sean. I'll respond to that in just a minute. Oh, Matt, you want to go ahead and lead off?
Which part do we want to kick off with?
Shit. I forgot I'm the programmer of the show.
What today is, or what today...
Yeah, let's go with what today is, sir.
That was 75 years ago?
75th anniversary.
75th anniversary of D-Day. It's been kind of watched all kinds of stuff on that today and did a little research on it, and that was literally hell on earth.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
I know we were supposed to be on a serious note, but I'm still fucking with Sean. Yeah, it was the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. Man, just I'll tell you what, all the stuff that they've had on it, you know, in the last day or two, you know, it's been at least 2 days as they've been playing it. I've seen multiple times before because I really research World War II and stuff like that. But every time you see him, even like the lone piper, the bagpipe guy, it just, you know, it definitely sparks emotion with you because you realize, and then you see these guys, you know, they're becoming few and far between. So if you know any World War II veterans or anybody else, you know, from the Greatest Generation, you might want to thank them now because they're now unfortunately knocking off at a pretty good clip. They're all in their 90s and their 100s. I mean, they're not going to be here much longer. But seeing them there, seeing, you know, from other, not just Americans, but from the UK, the British, the French and stuff like that, and seeing them guys there and see them, you know, some of them haven't been there for 75 years, and watching them get on the beach and literally climb out of their own wheelchairs, some of them in wheelchairs, and just touch that sand and, you know, and kiss it and start bawling. And they always said the same thing. They started talking about the men who died there. They did not talk about themselves.
Right.
And I think that's how it should be. You know, like they always said, you know, the heroes are the ones that were left on them beaches. And, you know, I know me and you were talking about, you know, the Rangers in Point du Hoc and
Yeah.
with some of the sneaky shit we were pulling off, like, you know, the Calais landing, which all the tanks and the Jeeps and everything were made of either plywood or inflatable.
Inflatables, yeah.
So the Panzer Army was attacking inflatables. It was fantastic.
I watched a video of the 90-year-old gentleman. Did you see him where he parachuted in?
Yep. And when he hit the ground, they're supposed to lean back.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that's actually controlling the parachute should have leaned back, and he didn't. And he fucking flat-faced that poor guy. And they're like, "You okay?" And he's like, "Yes, get off me." And another guy's like, "You're okay?" Yes, I'm fine. Get off me. Because he just smashed him to the floor, and I was like, "Oh, that poor guy!" I could hear the hip breaking as soon as he hit. He was 97 years old. That's not a fucking old joke. That's just what's going to happen at that age. But it was, like I said, it was amazing. I listened to the lone piper and to the gentleman standing in the cemetery playing taps and stuff like that. I mean, it just, you know, it does. If it doesn't spark an emotion in you, if you don't realize that those men gave their lives so that, you know, socialism wouldn't reign supreme throughout the world, then you are a jackass. But go ahead.
Agreed. Yeah, there was another. I think we had some rangers that made the infamous trek up the cliffside too. Because I seen a montage. It was an old photograph of a ranger, and he was reaching out like he was helping another one up, and it was actually one of the modern day rangers. That one was really got you in the feels too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and there's another story we got to talk about later on that actually has to do with our lovely mainstream media, and Sean actually just brought it up. The BBC was blowing up the waves with the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Most of ours were complaining about something else, or they didn't barely even mention it if they did at all.
Right.
And that's some fucking bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But our hats off definitely to the greatest generation, and they are the greatest generation. I don't care what anybody says. When you're, some of them even younger, 16. Some of those guys entered service on purpose at 14. So you're talking 14 and 15-year-olds who landed on beaches under withering fire from all directions, and they are the greatest generation. Just gonna say it like that. They pretty much have bigger balls than anybody living today. I mean, there's really no arguing that, is there?
Mm-mm.
Because I can't think of any. That was some brisk business back then.
Yeah.
That was real war. Or actually, real war. Let me rephrase that. Total war. Because everything was thrown at everybody at every time. They were not fucking around. They wanted everybody gone. And like I said, we were talking about Point de Hoc and the fact that that the Rangers jumped up there and then they're fucking telephone poles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit, where's the guns? They found out they were 3 miles inland. So these guys not only absolutely exhausted, and sick from the ride, but had to climb that cliff face under fire and fight the Germans. Then they had to run 3 miles inland to take out the guns so they would not fire on the beaches. Those guys, a big pair of Kiwis. I mean, and apparently in better shape than any of us will ever be, because that's a lot to put a strain on your body. And same with the guys that landed on the beaches. I broke something, but just I don't know. I don't even know where to go from this, because if you don't know the story about D-Day, if you don't, then open up a fucking history book.
Yeah.
Especially to the people on the left, you need to take off your Che Guevara T-shirts and all that shit and listen to what actual history is. Wrong button. But anyhow, everybody's reminding me that there's a storm coming. Thank you very much. I know there's a storm coming. Anyhow, let's get down to business here. Something the government that we've been talking about this for a while, and the government still hasn't kind of got it to click into their head that people don't want more entitlements. They don't want, well, most people. I can't say that about all, because there are some freeloaders out there who would rather just sit on the government coffers and live their life like that. But most people, poor people, middle income people, they want opportunity. They do not want more entitlement. And we're going to elaborate on that a little bit. You want to go ahead and, we took some cuts from an article that actually talks about that thing. So, you want to go ahead?
Now, there was according to a new YouGov poll conducted for the Cato Institute, 77% of Americans call it ineffective. This includes 80% of Republicans and 72% of Democrats.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of a little shocking there.
So this is, that's kind of like an insane collection of bipartisanship, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty almost evenly matched. Go ahead.
Fully 63% of people receiving welfare today say that the war on poverty has not succeeded, given the $26 trillion that the United States has spent fighting poverty since Lyndon Johnson declared war on it in '65.
Yeah, that's kind of an eye opener.
Mm-hmm.
Should be an ear opener too, but some people don't want to listen. The poor obviously, they're going to think the war on poverty failed because 26 trillion wasn't enough. I disagree. I think it was more than enough, and I don't think. You know where I'm going. Just go ahead. before I lose my shit. We already argued, but yeah, go ahead.
I think some of those, if they didn't think it was enough, it's probably because they worry their benefits were simply too low.
Well, in most cases, they are. Unless you have multiple children and are not and not a citizen.
Yeah.
We get into that argument all the time too. By the way, people say, "Oh no, the illegals and stuff like that. They don't get any assistance and everything." Bullshit.
Yeah. I think we went through that. We had a whole list of everything that they got, and
Yep.
we went through that. And
it was all verifiable through government sources,
Mm-hmm.
and they still did not want to listen to what we had to say. Go ahead.
So what do the poor think the government should do to help them escape poverty? An overwhelming 59% of welfare recipients say that the government should focus on eliminating the underlying causes of poverty.
Like higher taxes?
Right. As opposed to giving what money we have to poor people to help them get on their feet. 76% of welfare recipients believe that increased economic growth would do more to reduce poverty than would increasing welfare spending. I can agree with that. Mm-hmm. In fact, welfare recipients were more likely to prefer economic growth than registered Democrats.
Oh, you don't say. But, Democrats are the greatest thing that ever happened to this country, kind of like here in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I brought Illinois up is because of such things like this. You saw the exchange between me and another person on social media, in which the person said, "Well, this is all a lie, and you need to make your own opportunity." Like, yeah, partially true, but here's the thing. The people want, and I said it before, before this person even read the article. I said the people want the opportunity to, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's not life, misery and the pursuit of paying taxes. I said, nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, "Gee, this is the most amazing thing I get to do today. I get to wake up, I get to go to work, and I get to spend 70 cents on the dollar in taxes." Nobody says that. Nobody says I want to spend more of my income on taxes than I do actually living, and is happy about it. I'm sorry, that's not true. Nobody does that. And the overall tax burden in the state of Illinois is the highest in the nation. I've had this argument for days now. They said, "Well, no, we're not the highest in the nation for taxes. We're not," and they'll point out a couple of taxes. Like, yeah, but you're not adding them all together.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, our overall tax burden is insanely high. And then you got Blago Jr., the spokesman for KFC, J.B. Pritzker, trying to ram us in the ass with some more of them. I mean, he just, we're up to number 20 in taxes. Now he wants 50% uptick of taxes on
on
booze.
alcohol. Yep.
Motherfucker, if you go in there and pay $25 for a bottle of rum, you're paying about $10 for fucking taxes to begin with. I mean, I'm not far off on that. That's an exaggeration, just a little bit, just so you know. But it's really not that far off. Friends in the liquor industry know what I'm talking about. And he's like, well, we need to do it 50% more. So that $25, dollar bottle of booze is not going to be $35. Your 6-pack of beer, which is already retarded,
Just a little.
$10, $12 a fucking 6-pack. So basically, you're drinking $12 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it. They're already $10, $12. Now they're going to be almost $20 for a 6-pack. About $16, thanks, but whatever come out, $16, $17. But you get what I'm saying. It's insane. And we already talked about the $1 cigarette tax and the fact that he wants to tax vaping out of existence, and there's several other things that he wants to do. But every single time he opens his mouth, another tax falls out. Somebody needs to catch that man outside with some super glue, put a couple drops on his lips, and clamp them shut. Because every time he talks, we get taxed. But seriously, nobody wakes up in the morning and wants these taxes, and people don't understand that it's killing off the opportunities. You're like, well, this person in particular happens to be a truck driver. Oh, my job security. No job is actual security. I was like, what happens when they raise the fuel taxes? What happens when they raise the goods and services taxes and stuff like that? What happens when they do that? What's gonna happen? The person that you're delivering to is gonna raise their prices. So the consumer is going to get hit. The consumer is going to stop buying this product, so therefore they're going to have to raise their prices more. It's like a revolving door of bullshit. And eventually, people, they can't afford the product, so they simply quit buying it. Your employer itself is going to raise their rates because now their fuel cost is more. There's a lot of things that just fall into place. They don't understand. They think it's just, okay, we put this tax on, it's good. It's only going to, give a little pinch to somebody. No, you don't understand it. It still affects the overall tax burden. It affects everybody. And this one person said, well, it's not I'm not worried about other people's bottom line. I'm worried about my own, and that's it. Well, I'm worried about everybody's bottom line because I'm in the goods and services industry. I have a business that pertains to goods and services, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
So if your bottom line's crap, are you going to come buy my product?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I'm worried about your bottom line as much as I'm worried about my own. I'm worried about the price of taxes because I don't want to pay any more taxes. I didn't wake up in the morning again to pay 70 cents on a dollar for taxes. I don't expect you to either. I want you to succeed just as much as I want to succeed because my success actually has something to do with yours. And this molds all these, all industry into each other, doesn't it?
Right.
I told this person, I said, it's very simple. What's going to happen is there's only going to be so many jobs basically left. So your industry is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. It's going to get squeezed and squeezed and squeezed because more people are going to have to be forced into that job. And what if that's not their dream? What if they said, well, he said, well, and I'm quoting him, some people work way too hard for too little. What if that's their passion? What if that's what they love to do? And now, because of all these taxes, now they have to go get out of what their passion and what they love to do, and get into a job that they absolutely despise, which is against the pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to live out a miserable life just to keep their bills paid. Does that sound fucking fair?
No.
No. All right, who's talking?
Oh, Mark. Mark just popped on.
Oh. Well, that's fun. But I hope I'm making sense with this. I really do. But there is some silver lining a little bit in this comment, is there?
Yeah.
I mean, is there any more you want to talk about the opportunity, or do you want to?
No, I think you covered it all.
You think that works? Because I sounded like a bumbling idiot.
I mean, you got the point across.
Sometimes I have a bad day. Okay, it's live radio. Sometimes your brain just does not function. You're like, no, I haven't had enough liquor yet. Go fuck yourself. The fuck are you laughing at? But you know, according to Forbes, Trump's policy magic wand boosts manufacturing jobs 399% in first 26 months over Obama's last 26. And I can already hear it now. No, this is all because of Obama. It just took his policies, that long to work. It's like, okay, so it took him 4 years to work. Right?
That's
because it
what
didn't
they're
work. It didn't work in his 2 years. Yeah, bullshit. Because he rammed most of his policies through in his first term. Go ahead.
Of course, we know that during the 2016 presidential campaign, Donald Trump, he had consistently promised to revive America's manufacturing economy. His focus on manufacturing brought out high-profile critics, who scoffed at the notion. I remember them laughing at it. President Obama notably said in June of 2016 that manufacturing jobs are just not going to come back. He said this at a time when manufacturing job growth had flatlined, falling by 31,000 from January of 2016 to when he delivered his pessimistic comments in June of that year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do tell more.
While President Obama's time in office did see job gains, even in manufacturing, it's important to note that jobs always come back in a post-recession recovery. But comparing the nation's most recent economic recovery from the trough in June of 2009, the pace of job growth was slower in Obama's tenure than in any
tenure.
I'm any past recovery, except for the rebound from the mild 8-month recession in 2001, following the deflation of the dot-com bubble.
By the way, just so everybody knows, the gross domestic product under Obama was 1.6% over multiple years. That is not growth; that is stagnation completely. Trump's is up around 4% and over, isn't it?
I believe so.
I'm not, I'm no mathematician, but I believe 4 is higher than 1. I think.
Right. I think you're right.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, though. I mean, I went to public schools. Go ahead.
Much of the blame for the weak economy can be set at the feet of 2 failed economic policies, monetary and fiscal. From the reliance on the Federal Reserve's easy money, $4.5 trillion of quantitative easing, to the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or TARP, started under President Bush, to Obama's Cash for Clunkers program. The post-09 recovery was marked by government intervention at levels not seen since the Great Depression 70 years earlier.
Yeah, instead of letting private business do their thing, the government stepped in and raped them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Furthermore, the federal regulatory activity at historic highs under President Obama. Investors were scared off from making long-term commitments. As a result, much of the Federal Reserve's easy money sat safely on the sidelines. As the shock was settling in less than 3 weeks after Trump's election, Paul Krugman, a New York Times columnist and economist, said of President-elect Trump's manufacturing jobs promises, "Nothing policy can do will bring back those lost jobs. The service sector is the future of work, but nobody wants to hear it."
Well, and what did Obama say? Magic wand.
Yeah.
We're just magic wand he's going to use. Go ahead.
Yet last Friday, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics issued its February jobs report, comparing the Trump administration's first 26 months of employment data with the last 26 months under Obama is insightful. Both periods are considered by most economists to be in the mature stage of the business cycle. In Obama's case, slow economic growth, especially regarding sluggish manufacturing employment, was considered the new normal. The national economy grew by like 1.6%.
Didn't I say that earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't facts a bitch?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And from October 2014 to December 2016, private sector employment grew by 4.4% as the unemployment rate dipped to 4.7. In the past 26 months, private employers have grown their payrolls by 4% as the job market has tightened considerably, with official unemployment dropping to 3.8%. While overall employment numbers are comparable, the difference in manufacturing is profound. In the last 26 months of Obama's presidency, manufacturing employment grew by 96,000, or 0.8%. In Trump's first 26 months, manufacturers added 479,000 jobs, or 3.9%. 399% more jobs than Obama's record.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I didn't hear it. I'm deaf.
Well,
Let
in
me turn up
Trump's-
my
in-
headphones a little bit.
In Trump's 26 months, manufacturers added 479,000 jobs, or 3.9%, which turns to be 399% more jobs than Obama's record.
You don't say. So we've been saying this for, I don't know, several years now that there was no Obama economy and that he did not get anything, significant done. And, well, shovel-ready jobs weren't so shovel-ready after all. But it's all getting done under Trump. And, after almost 3 years, they're still trying to say this is Obama's economy that's actually helping.
No.
And, yeah, I fail to see it, too, because the numbers are calling bullshit on this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really bullshit. Go ahead.
Let's see. Which, it's rather amusing, when Obama, had derided candidate Trump for needing a magic wand to deliver his promise. On the other hand, federal, state, and local government jobs, many of them creators of job-stifling red tape, grew by 1.8% in Obama's last 26 months, compared to 0.8% under Trump. In fact, over the past 26 months, there was a 168% more jobs in manufacturing created than in government. While during Obama's last 26 months, there were 303% more government jobs created than in manufacturing.
Oh, we called that one too, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Son of a bitch. I hate it when we're right.
And this was not sustainable. Government jobs don't pay for themselves.
No, they don't. Go ahead.
And, of course, this is where President Trump's pro-growth policies come into play. The current stretch in increased... I heard something outside.
Did you have a stroke?
No, I heard something, and that's what it kind of...
It's just like...
The current stretch in increased manufacturing employment started in November of
was the
2016.
CIA.
Wouldn't surprise me. The month of Trump's election. Employers, especially those faced with making long-term investments in physical plants and equipment, anticipated regulatory relief under Trump. They got the relief they hoped for. By October of 2018, the Trump administration cut 2.7 major regulations for every one added, greatly reducing regulatory cost and risk. In addition, the tax cuts signed into law in December of 2017 not only reduced corporate tax rates, encouraging investment, they also incentivized U.S.-based multinational corporations to bring home profits held overseas. The first 9 months of 2018, these firms repatriated $571.3 billion needed for job-creating investment at home, but had been held in foreign countries because America had the highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world.
Oh, you don't think? So taxes are bad.
Yes.
Oh, taxes bad, yo. No shit. Go ahead.
Trump's pro-growth policies appear to be all the magic the manufacturing sector needed. So can we call Trump the magic man?
Well, we can't. Never mind, Ricky Bobby. We'll not go with that. Jesus. All right, we're gonna take a break. We went way too far on this. Way too long on this. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. If it's that time again to indulge yourself with some new ink, or maybe a body piercing, then Forever Yours Tattoo Studio is the place for you. With 27 years experience in tattoos and body piercing, artist Ricky Johnson has you covered, pun intended. Freehand or custom drawn art, maybe some permanent cosmetics, repair the half done or faded work you got years ago. Or maybe you need a cover up on that nasty scratcher ink you got in a dusty old basement with a sewing needle. Ricky will take care of you. Forever Yours is located at 209 West Main Cross Street in Taylorville. Stop on in or give them a call at 217-824-2INK. They are open Wednesday through Saturday, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. They are also open 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. every other Tuesday.
Forever Yours is a health board certified business using modern sterilizing equipment. Tell them the two nutballs on the Machine Radio Show sent you.
All right, this next story, for those of you who are just now joining us, actually, is just kind of ignorant, I guess. And
yeah.
And it's probably going to require more booze. You may have to actually make a booze run. Just to be honest with you. Can you just read the headline that we found?
Researchers say that dodgeball teaches children an unethical system of oppression.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? One more time, sir.
Researchers say that dodgeball teaches children an unethical system of oppression.
You got to be fucking kidding me, right?
I wish I was.
Okay, well, no surprise. The Canadian Society for the Study of Education at the Congress of the Humanities and Social Sciences, that's a mouthful, has decided that dodgeball, the gym class game and rite of passage for most elementary schoolers, is not merely a somewhat dangerous schoolyard pastime. It's a tool designed to teach children an unethical system of oppression that legalizes bullying. The game is, it's a familiar one. We all know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's two teams, and oh man, this is what they said. I got to read it as they said it, so it makes sense to everybody. Usually self-selected in a mildly embarrassing process, race to take control of a set of large rubber balls that they then throw at the other team. Kids hit by the balls are out, and a winner is declared as soon as one team has been completely eliminated. Oh, darn. It's a competition. There's no participation trophy in this section. Sorry. In a totally serious article published in Canada's National Post, researchers argue that social justice demands the complete and total elimination of dodgeball from the Canadian physical education curriculum, lest children grow up and understand they can wield their privilege the way they wield their rubber athletic ball. Just go ahead. Just take over.
The game, the group claims, is miseducative and forces students to play hierarchies of privilege based on athletic skill, even though the game is mostly just about throwing balls at other kids. That's what we did when we were in school. You threw it at your buddies, try to hit them in the nuts. And
like, hey, motherfucker. And there was nothing more satisfying than the kid jumping mid-flight in the air and you just bash him.
Yes.
And you're, pong, got him. That was the fun part of it. There was nothing, I never once like I'm going to oppress this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I don't think the kid that get hit by was, I'm being oppressed. No, he's like, shit. I was like, I did the Superman leap and still got crushed in the testicles with an inflatable rubber ball. I need to throw this bitch back. That was the thought. And like, I'm gonna get this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't stop oppressing me or bullying me. Fucking pussies. Go ahead.
Now, this is what they have said. Dodgeball is not just unhelpful to the development of kind and gentle children who will become decent citizens of a liberal democracy. It is actively harmful to the process. The researchers claim adding that the game is, at its core, oppressive.
I can't wait to hear what they say about football.
Oh, I know, right?
Because your only job in football is to kill the fucker who has the ball.
Yep.
Go ahead.
They also said the researchers claimed, as we consider the potential of physical education to empower students by engaging them in critical and democratic practices, we conclude that the hidden curriculum offered by Dodgeball is anti-ethical to this project, even when it reflects the choices of the strongest and most agile students.
Move on.
Ultimately, Dodgeball's hidden curriculum reinforces the 5 faces of oppression. They claim as it encourages the marginalization, powerlessness, helplessness of those perceived as weaker individuals through the exercise of violence and dominance by those who are considered more powerful.
So, what it says is, they shouldn't try harder. They shouldn't try harder to eliminate their peers. They shouldn't try harder to have a good time. They should sit down and take the fact that they're little bitches. That's basically what they're trying to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Part of the problem, apparently, is that unlike other nursery games and elementary school sports, Dodgeball puts the focus on other students. In order to succeed in the game, you have to target other kids and hit them with the ball. And that's what makes it so fun. When you make humans the target, the researchers say you legalize bullying because most of the targets are smaller and weaker children.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're all from the same class, you're all about the same size.
Yeah, so I was a smaller guy. Certainly as hell wasn't the weaker one, but I was the smaller one, and I intentionally went after the bigger ones. Actually, it made me feel, if anything, it didn't make me feel impressed. It made me feel fucking empowered. Because I could now legally, without the teacher throwing me out of school, smash one in the fucking head with a ball. Like, douchebag.
Throwing the ball at smaller kids, they're a smaller target. They're a pain in the ass to hit most of the time.
Exactly. You go after the bigger guys first because they're the easiest ones to hit.
Right.
Again, you see the big... It's the sound of the ball, man. You just, boom, got him. It was very satisfactory. And yes, occasionally you did intentionally throw the ball right at testicles. There's just no avoiding that. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but dick punch is hilarious. Just go ahead.
If you practice ganging up on people, over time you'll esteem ganging up on people, one team member told Canadian media. If that's what you want, then Dodgeball is an excellent tool to that end. And of course, Dodgeball has been a target of social justice warriors before. Schools have been working for years to ban Dodgeball from the physical education curriculum for reasons ranging from bullying to athletic capacity, even legal liability.
Hey, fuck.
I don't even know if...
I'm getting sick of saying that tonight. Are you fucking kidding me? No, I really am. I'm getting sick of saying that tonight. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Edutopia reports that Dodgeball, though a much beloved memory for Gen Xers and older millennials. Older millennials?
Who the fuck is an older millennial?
Yeah, I don't know. Has little value for modern physical education teachers who want to focus more on developing social skills than showcasing athletic prowess.
That's not what physical education is about at all. It's about exercise, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's about making your little weakling kid who probably pisses his pants and runs the wrong way to fucking second base and gets the participation trophy for that. It gives him some exercise, so he puts down his Xbox controller and doesn't become a complete fat ass.
Gets a little fresh air and sun. So he's not pasty white.
Hey, my ass is pasty white. But go ahead. I know what you're trying to say. Go ahead.
That's about all I've got on that. I don't.
Oh, bullshit. There's more to it. I know there is. I know just in your thoughts alone, there's more to it.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. I never had a problem playing the game. That was like one of my favorite games growing up. That's what everybody wanted to play was dodgeball.
Yeah, well, if we were playing that shit in our fucking teens. We're
It
like,
was
we're gonna
like-
let's go beat the shit out of each other, and sometimes we'd use basketballs. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
oh, fuck.
I mean, it built hand-eye coordination, agility,
Yeah, agility, especially when you're using a basketball or a fucking medicine ball. We've done that.
pain tolerance.
Again, medicine ball.
Uh-huh.
Them fuckers hurt, dude. Because it doesn't go ping, it goes thud. It's like getting hit with a fucking boulder. Hey, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Go ahead.
Well, I don't even know if they actually play it anymore in schools because I think there was a lot of injuries with it, and I think they did away with it.
What injuries? Explain
I
to
don't
me
know.
that. Aside from occasionally getting waffle face from the fucking pattern on the ball,
Yeah.
I mean
the
that's
rubber ball.
that's about the worst thing that we've ever gotten. I don't get it. Somebody's got to explain that to me.
Yeah. Yeah, their thought process on this is just
There is no thought process.
it's just not right.
I do believe the thought process went straight out the window. And you know what? I think since we're probably wait we got people talking. I'm missing the people talking here. Nut shots were the best. Yes, they were, listener Mike. They absolutely were. It was funny to watch your friend curl up in a ball in fetal position while everybody else still kept throwing at him.
Or you get the one where 3 or 4 people all throw the ball at you and you can only catch one. You're like, I'm screwed.
Yep, just a little bit, but you know what? All right, we're gonna take a break, and I think listener Mike's gonna love this next little break song. Sean, if you're still with us, you're probably going to turn this down because it's just not your thing. You know, and Chris and all them, you're probably gonna like it, but Sean's probably not going to. Well, we'll be right back.
All right.
Because I think Matt's going to have to make me another drink. Fuck it. Finish yours off, too, and we'll just make 2 of them.
Oh, Sean popped in. He was like, what?
Oh, he's still alive. Yep, get it down. Get rid of it. I think it needs a little bit more whiskey. Didn't that one taste a little thin to you?
It did, and I put 2 ounces in there.
Well, better make 3 or 4
We'll
just
do
to make
3.
Yes, just to make sure.
All right.
Mike, no shit. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You go do the boost thing. I'm gonna elaborate on this and then go to break. Go to the song because Mike's gonna enjoy the hell out of it. Mike says, "Whoever thought a red rubber ball would be the tool of oppression." But then again, whoever thought that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were going to be racist and kids were going to try and eat laundry detergent? Just throwing that out there. But since in the interest of being somewhat fair, the song that I'm going to play is actually called "Iron Strengthens Iron." So you know, this is not. It was a strengthening tool. It was not a tool of oppression. So enjoy the fuck out of this one because we will.
Make a shut up for me, go down to the stars, not ease.
Hey lefties, liberals, and progressives. This is not a safe space. I repeat, this is not a safe space.
If you are one of those squishies who are easily offended, put on your safety pins, pussy hats, and leave this radio station. Or you can free yourself and get educated.
Well, hell yeah! I tried to twist him up, but he wouldn't have it. Hell no. This old boy's wild. We about to have to keep this one.
You are listening to the Machine Radio Show with your hosts, Brandon
And Matt.
Talking about a bunch of hobos with fingers in each other's pooper in a stranger's car with talk radio playing really loud. It's going to be a nice evening.
Okay, shit just got real weird. I think I'm gonna need a safe space.
What the? Are those friends of yours, Matt?
Oh, hell no.
Are you sure?
Oh, shut your dumpster and start the show already.
Well, all right, you pissy pants. Let's do everything you want to do. And we have returned. Some of our equipment just shut off. You see that? Don't flick the middle button.
Don't flick the middle button.
Yeah, because it shut down our YouTube feed. I'm sorry for everybody on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, Periscope, all that bullshit. Sorry. One of us got angry because a piece of machinery quit. I should stop doing that. I broke the fucking laptop. No, I didn't actually break. I just kind of touched the screen to get it to come back on, and it stopped the recording. So if you're on there, I apologize. You'll be back sooner or later. If you're not, hey, it'll be back for you. There should be 2 episodes today instead of 1. Yeah. And we got to get moving along because we do have actually a lot of shit that we could be talking about. Mm-hmm. But this is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. 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 Go ahead.
Rashida Tlaib breaks into tears reading hate mail to FBI.
Oh, hate mail.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean so bashing, this country and bashing the Israelis, got her hate mail?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, fuck
and
me. I didn't know that would happen.
It brought her to tears as she spoke about death threats that she had received from people who disagree with her.
Just go ahead.
Apparently, she was questioning members of the CIA and FBI this past Tuesday during a House Oversight Committee on confronting white supremacy.
It's not white supremacy. Nobody likes you. Go ahead.
She read some of the.
I swear it's not hash oil.
She read some of the hate mail to Michael McGarity, who is the assistant director for counterterrorism, I believe. Mm-hmm. When she began to cry, which was probably a shit show.
It was.
It was just she can cry at will or whatever. A letter written to her had said, "Attention, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez," and do you really want me to read the?
Yes, please.
And don't hate me. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just reading what's on here.
Just do it.
And ragheads of Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. I was totally excited and pleased when I heard about 49 Muslims were killed and many more were wounded in New Zealand. This is a great start, it said. It continued on. Let's hope and pray that it continues here in the good old USA. The only good Muslim is a dead one. These are not my words, people. She said, how is that not enough to fall under domestic terrorism if they're targeting solely based on my faith and others and saying that a good Muslim is a dead one?
Oh, kind of like you do with those of Jewish and Christian faith. And saying that Sharia law. Never mind. Go
what you're saying is she's got a little hypocrisy going on.
Pot meat kettle, bitch. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We get so many of them, and I keep asking, what happens? What happens to these individuals? I'm being sincere. I'm a mother, so I want to go home to my 2 boys. How come we don't have enough tools right now to pull these people in? I absolutely welcome freedom of speech, she said. I welcome anybody that has an opinion, even about my faith. But aren't they expressing their opinions?
I think they are. I do believe they are. I think that's what's happening. But go ahead.
And she continues on, but to get to the point where they...
Oh, sorry.
I thought that was a soundbite for a minute. That was pretty good.
That was me. Go ahead.
But to get
Liquor's kicking in, motherfucker.
to the point where they pass it towards threatening life, and to me, that is enough. And sometimes the protected speech, and that's something we have to be very careful about and treat very carefully, very, very carefully with that. I feel like if they were Muslim or if they were black, it would be handled differently.
Actually, it wouldn't.
Did she just assume their race?
And their religion.
Huh.
Damn.
How does she know that they're not Muslim?
Yeah, because I know.
I'll continue on. She says, "I feel like if threatening the life of someone else, that alone should be just enough for us to get them on it. If it's based on hate because they are mentioning a faith, if it's based on color and so forth, and sexual orientation, that should be enough."
I'm sorry. Can you tell me that one more time, please?
Well, she's basically saying that if what they're saying, if it's based on hate because they are mentioning a faith, a color, and sexual orientation, that should be enough to get them.
So, like she does constantly with white people and people of the Jewish faith.
Right. So
again, pot meet kettle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead. I know there's more to this because there's a lot of people that responded to it. Go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of tweets,
twits,
from
whatever the fuck you want to call them,
from all different people.
Oh, good.
Sean says, "I object with her vulgarity in statements and her leftist positions."
Well, yeah, we all do. But apparently Hannah Alum has something else to say on Twitter. She says, Representative Rashida Tlaib breaks into sobs reading aloud hate mail she received attacking her in celebrity Muslim deaths in New Zealand. She asks, how is that not enough to charge as domestic terrorism? She says, asking sincerely, I'm a mother and I want to go into my 2 boys. Well, I don't even want to fucking dignify that with response. Go ahead. Because I'm going to lose my shit. Because anything that she, well, I'm going to go ahead and elaborate a little bit. Anything that she has ever said has been derogatory towards who we are,
mm-hmm.
who Americans are as a whole. And that means you too, fucking idiots. And by fucking idiots, I mean leftists. Yeah, I can say that because, the search for intelligent life on the left has continued in vain. Damn it, just go for it. I'm not going to stop you.
They're wanting to. She's wanting to know how this doesn't fall under domestic terrorism. Well, you actually have to look at the definition of domestic terrorism. It's just somebody spouting off,
Yeah, but, I understand partially what she's trying to say because, we don't know when they're going to, enact violence. But like Mike's just said, we know who's going to enact violence, and they don't investigate them.
Mm-hmm.
Antifa.
Yeah.
And might I remind her that her religion is what blew up the Twin Towers. Her religion is the reason why we got into what some of you leftists call 2 false wars. Her religion is actually not a religion. It is the most violent cult on earth. sorry. I'm not going to fucking... Well, I mean, I'm saying sorry, but I'm not actually really sorry about it at all. I'm just speaking aloud. How's that? And you know, let me back that up a little bit. I don't hate anybody. I don't care if you're wearing Muslim garb in the middle of the road. If your car's broken down, I'll stop and try to help you. If you're good to me, I'm good to you. But it is what it is. How's that? Because if you read what they write, if you listen to what they say, and if you read and understand what Sharia law is, there is nothing peaceful about that religion at all.
Correct.
So go ahead.
I think she needs to take a few minutes, sit back, reflect on the garbage that comes out of her mouth of how she talks about Jews and the rest of us here in America. Because she would find that when you put shit out, you get shit back.
Right. And as listener Sean had just mentioned, she isn't going to win us by crying about hate mail. No, she is not, because I get hate mail. I've gotten death threats. I've showed them to you, where people have actually written and said, you know what, somebody should come over and kill you because you talk against what we believe in. And I laughed at, I was like, whatever, motherfucker. I don't care. I'm not going to get, start crying on the screen and shit because people said that they wanted to kill me. Motherfucker, I'm used to it. Go ahead.
You say, you know how many active threats I've got from, because anytime one went out to the military, it also went out to security personnel too.
Right.
That guarded those. You know how many I've got active?
Hey, Matt.
I'm just like, bring it.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
I'm going to pull it to sleep. I need a hug.
You need a hug?
I need a hug.
Okay. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Okay, I'm done. Whatever. Okay. Sorry, you are in government, and chances are some jackass is probably going to give you a death threat at one point in time, so suck it up, Buttercup. Stop being a pussy. Do your job, which undoubtedly you don't know what that is because you've never read the Constitution or understand what we stand for as a country, especially with how you talk and do shit. So basically, if you want my sympathy, look between shit and syphilis in the dictionary. Just putting that out there. And, I don't even really want to talk too much. I know we have a shit ton of notes on her, but do we really have to keep talking about her?
No.
Is there anything else you want?
I probably will later on go on YouTube and watch this as she balls.
Is she touches balls or is she balls? Which one
balls.
is it?
I don't think she touches balls.
I don't think she touches balls either. But then again, no, go ahead. I can't go there.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
I'm going to have to watch the video.
It'd be wrong if I did.
Mm-hmm. It probably would be.
Great. Now I got the wheels turning. I'm like, I could totally go really, really good into this.
Yeah.
I feel this song at the moment. Because, she feels the hate inside, I guess, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, here you go.
Never let you go. I should've never let you know. Why would I treat you like before? You know you're already dead. Never wanted something more. Never felt anything so pure. I'm finally right outside the door. Just when you're walking away, I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go. No, you'll never escape. Just knowing that we tried a perfect sacrifice, fighting to survive. And don't say a word. Now I know.
It's time for a random thought from the Machine Radio Show. This is Brandon from the Machine Radio Show. Isn't sex kind of like playing bridge? If you don't have a good partner, you better have a good hand. This has been your random thought from the Machine Radio Show. And we back. And there's something I got to bring up. Everybody seems to think constantly, for some reason, and incessantly, that we are just super duper average trumpeteers, Trump fans.
Yep.
Although we do support the president, nobody is safe from our wrath, and that includes President Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, I don't know if anybody's heard, but let's just go, let's before I even open up on this one, let's back up a little bit and go with the ban on bump stocks. Okay, I said before, and I'll say it again, I could give a shit less if the bump stock is a $350 novelty piece of plastic that makes the firearm highly inaccurate. So to me, it's worthless. I could give a care less if it's here or there, if it's around or not. But that being said, it is a slippery slope to let them run along the way they do, and this is no exception. And Mr. Donald Trump, Mr. President, I would have to respectfully disagree with you wholeheartedly on thinking about banning suppressors. To the average Joe who doesn't own a firearm, it is not a silencer, it is a suppressor. It only takes away some noise. It does not make the weapon completely silent. It doesn't hurt your ears as much, I guess.
Yep, right.
Brings it down to a tolerable level, I guess. But during a guest appearance on Good Morning Britain, President Donald Trump expressed willingness to think about banning suppressors in the U.S. Trump was being interviewed by the biggest douchebag on earth, Piers Morgan. I said that because he is. We've dealt with him long enough. Thankfully, he's back in his own fucking country. Morgan began the interview by praising Donald Trump for banning bump stocks. He then traditioned to reports that the Virginia Beach gunman had a suppressor on one of his handguns, and said, "What is your view on silencers?" And Trump actually responded and says, "I do not like them." Morgan responded back and said, "Would you like to see those banned?" The President of the United States said, "I'd like to think about it." Nobody's talked about silencers very much. They did talk about the bump stocks, and we had it banned. We're looking at that, and I'm going to seriously look at that. Well, here is the problem, Mr. President. When you give the Democrats any possible legislation when it comes to gun control, they take the whole fucking Second Amendment. They do the best they can to do everything to get rid of our Second Amendment rights. And I'm going to have to disagree with you on this. One, not everybody has one. In fact, not many people have them to begin with. But I think actually it should be the opposite. I think they should be readily available. Because, I know the neighbors out in the country when I go to the firing range, probably occasionally would like to have one on something that I'm firing. Because some of my stuff goes pew, some of my stuff goes bang, some of my stuff goes kaboom. And it's the kabooms they love to have on their barrels, so they'd quiet down. They wouldn't get scared out of their fucking lawn chairs all the time when I'm out there. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you on this. This is something that he needs to stay the hell away from. On one hand, I think he's not fully informed on what they do and how it operates. I don't think he totally understands that it doesn't silence gunfire. It just removes the
resonance.
Right, the ear damaging aspect of the shot. But the shot is still audible. You know, and an example is that is the Virginia Beach Police Chief James Cervera indicated that his officers located the Virginia Beach attacker by running toward the sound of his gunshots because they could still audibly hear them.
You don't say. Mm-hmm. So even with the little funky metal tube on the end, it still goes pew.
Yeah, it still makes a pew sound.
Oh damn!
So, I think once he gets the information and understands it, I don't think he'll touch it.
Right.
But if you do, we'll be on your ass.
Oh yeah,
like white on rice.
With the fucking quickness, man. And you know, talking about the Virginia Beach shooting, you know, this is an argument from a top cop, from a police chief that we've made for years, that gun control would not have mattered, especially in this particular instance, would it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you explained to me, you leftists explained to me exactly what would, what we law-wise would have done to stop the Virginia mass shooter. Could you please explain that to me? But until you do, I guess Matt and I are going to have to elaborate. Would you like to lead off, sir?
I'm still trying to find.
All right, I'll go ahead. You chill.
My thing runs a little slow.
Wait, are we talking about the tablet or your dick? Anyhow, Dwayne Craddock, a longtime city employee, opened fire at the Virginia Beach Municipal Center last week, killing 12 people before being shot and killed by police. The police chief responded. He says, by talking about a gun-related paper he and other chiefs published a year ago. He goes, I don't think most of that would have mattered in this case. Talking about the gun laws, he says we do have the Second Amendment. It is very stringent for our country. In this particular case, weapons were obtained illegally. Everything was done in a legal manner by this individual. See, what the Democrats think we can do is precognitive response, like the sci-fi movies. Like we can look at a person and go, okay, that person may or may not, they shouldn't have a gun because they may or may not shoot somebody. You don't know what's in somebody's heart, okay? It doesn't work that way, and there's no way of knowing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense. And, he didn't technically, he didn't break any laws. He had everything legally. But then you have, of course, the wonderful California, who I'm hoping the San Andreas fault line somehow victimizes soon. California, their governor, Gavin Newsom, calls for nationwide background checks on ammo purchases. Okay, so gun checks apparently don't work because most criminals don't buy their guns through legal means. Do you think that doing this with ammo purchases is going to make any difference? All you're doing is making more paperwork for the poor bastard who's selling the shit, thus putting them out of business. You want to go ahead?
And it'll be an endless fuckery of how we see it now, where somebody forgets to enter in, hey, this douchebag doesn't need a gun, but I'm going to set this here and enter in later, and then I forget about it, and then he ends up getting a gun and killing a bunch of people.
And I didn't, you failed me, man.
What?
You weren't reading the chat.
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Listener Sean, I got to back up because Matt fucked up. Listener Sean says suppressors work like in the movies, right? A whisper, quiet sound is all you hear. No, that's not what happens at all. Trust me, I have fired one. But go ahead. Now we can go back forward, or seat back forward. I don't bend that way, kind of like George Carlin said. Go ahead.
So is this like a reversal? Illinois didn't Illinois try to pull that background checks for ammo.
Yes, and I also try to serial number every single round.
How would you like to be that poor bastard that has a serial number every casing?
Especially when there's dickheads like me that when we go to the gun range, we don't take 20 or 30 rounds. We take 300 to 500.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good long day of shooting targets. Go ahead.
I guess he was talking to reporters after a Saturday morning speech at the California Democratic Party convention in San Francisco. Newsom also criticized President Trump for tweeting his condolences to the Virginia Beach community, because that's a bad thing. You shouldn't tell people, you're sorry for what happened.
Right.
Saying he had failed to do anything to stem the epidemic of gun violence in America.
What epidemic? What epidemic? I want to know what epidemic they're talking about when it comes to gun violence. Because actually, if you go on to the database when it comes to crimes per capita with firearms and stuff like that, we are one of the least countries to have gun violence. France, who banned every fucking thing, is still higher than we are.
Right.
Because all criminals have guns, you fucking idiots. But and that's that's just the main thing, that like the crime per capita and stuff like that. But we're also when it comes to mass shootings, out of I forgot how many it was, like 16 or 18 countries, we're like 14th. But it's an epidemic. No, it's just because it's more televised now, and there's less educated people out there, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
Because you remember back in the day when school teams had, schools had shooting teams and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, ooh, that's icky, don't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why we have. I'm gonna say that's why we have more of this. But go ahead.
Yeah, he even stated that Trump has completely failed to address this issue with any meaningful way. And he claims that the words become insulting the more they are repeated with no action to follow them up.
Well, the words are already more insulting because you keep repeating more bullshit over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Newsom was the official proponent in 2016 of Proposition 63, which mandated background checks for ammunition purchases, outlawed high-capacity magazines, and levied fines for failing to report when guns are stolen or lost. It also created a process for removing guns from people who are convicted of a felony, which puts them in the state's armed prohibited persons system, as long as somebody puts them in that system.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, is the NICS system actually works. The background check system that the entire United States actually does work. But it only works if you report the shit.
So what you're saying is human error.
Yeah, if the military does not report that a person is dishonorably discharged or a threat to society, then it's not on the record, so the NICS system can't catch it. If the law enforcement does the same thing, if they do not report the stuff, it does not get taken care of. So why is it they think adding more background checks and more stuff like that, and like in the state of Illinois, fingerprinting. All they're going to do is make local municipalities, because by the way, you go and get fingerprinted at your local police station, you're going to overwhelm them,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just costing the state more money. But go ahead, waste our fucking time. Unbelievable. Go ahead.
NRA has challenged Proposition 63's gun restrictions in court. Newsom has called the NRA's opposition disgraceful and said it will lead to more gun-related deaths. You know what it all comes down to is this guy's just spewing shit so he can get reelected.
Correct.
That's what it all boils down to.
And some people in I'm going to say Chicago. Sorry. California. They're one and the same. They eat this shit up like it's put on a silver spoon and presented as a meal. I mean, seriously, they think that all this action is going to change anything. And they're completely daft about it. They don't understand anything at all. They don't understand how many laws are already on the books. They don't understand the Second Amendment is not to be regulated and tracked like a pedophile. But then again, it's California. I'm just all I'm going to say. In Chicago. Chicago should be its own entity by now.
In his proposed budget, Newsom has incorporated funding increases for a state program to seize guns from thousands more people who are ineligible to possess firearms because of criminal convictions or mental illness, as well as for the Firearms Violence Research Center at UC Davis.
Okay, the first two parts make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say Nick's system again.
Yeah.
Last part, you're not taking my guns because of your feelings. Sorry, cocksucker. Anyhow, go ahead.
Let's see here.
Screw this. Let's go to break.
Yeah. I'm going to say there isn't too much more about it, but...
No, we got plenty of other things to go, and we're already at an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So let's take a break, and we'll be back.
All right.
I'm walking through fire. I'm a fighter, chasing desire. I'm walking through fire. On the outside, looking at the inside, see the gleam of the dream in my eyes. Looking through the mirror just reminds me of all the time that I spent grinding. Put my back to the wall, stare them all down. 720 roll, taking over this town. There's something left to say when we come around. Stand up, stand tall, guns up. I'm walking through fire. I'm a fighter, chasing desire. Say what I'm walking through fire. One shot at the chance of a lifetime. Anything I believe I achieve, it's mine. Keep you at a distance, hoping you can find me. When all these rumors finally come unwinding. Ripping my chest as I scream at the skyline. Drop the bomb, mushroom cloud, watch it fade and die. I'll always have this fire in my eyes. Stand up, stand tall, guns up. I'm walking through fire. Get the phone, I'ma call the gang, we ready. You greedy and petty, the brawn left. We the new kings, screaming the best yet. You skinny and running, we hungry and coming for the throne of the land. Middle finger for nothing. We the church of the people, a killer's confession. X means evil. Stand up, stand tall, guns up. I'm walking through fire. I'm a fighter, chasing desire. Say what you want in the fire. I'm a fighter, chasing desire. Say what you want in the fire.
Yeah, we've returned. Just so you know, we're back much to some of your dismay because we love how you love to listen to us, right? You left us out there that are getting butthurt every time we talk. Matt, we got a lot we can go with. What do you want to go with? Should we talk about that or should we move forward?
If we talk about that, it wouldn't take very long. I mean, I actually was ecstatic when I heard this. I'm like, it's about freaking time.
All right, please go for it.
If you haven't heard, the armed school resource officer who failed to confront the Parkland shooter, he's been arrested.
Oh, he has. What's he been arrested for, sir?
The charges stem from what prosecutors described as Scott Peterson's lack of response to the deadly shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
So, this entire time we've been calling him the Broward Coward. Mm-hmm. I guess that's actually true, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Former Deputy Scott Peterson, 56, was fired and charged this past Tuesday with 11 criminal charges, including 7 counts of child neglect, 3 counts of culpable negligence, and 1 count of perjury in connection to what the Broward State's Attorney's Office described as his lack of response to the February 14th, 2018 shooting.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Sheriff Gregory Toney said in a statement announcing Peterson's termination, he goes, "We cannot fulfill our commitment to always protect the security and safety of our Broward County community without doing a thorough assessment of what went wrong that day. I am committed to addressing deficiencies and improving the Broward Sheriff's Office." Officials said Peterson was booked into the Broward County Jail on a $102,000 bond following an administrative disciplinary hearing at the sheriff's headquarters. All I can say is hang him high.
Good day, Pusscake.
Yep. I say that they need to give him the max penalty.
I think so, too. Of course, we've been talking about that since it happened, that his inaction, which was on video, is the reason why those kids are dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the blood is on his hands. There's no. I'm not going to hold any punches about it. The blood is on his hands. As a law enforcement officer, I've heard him say it before, though. Well, they don't really have the right. They don't have to. Serve and protect. Actually, that's their motto: is to serve and protect.
Serve and protect. Yeah. I'm not really 100% sure what their oath is. I'm kind of curious on that, but I know, like, for my job, I had to take an oath, and that was one of the things that was in the oath is I will never lay down my sidearm, and not to act cowardly
And willingly give up.
Yeah.
Which this walking piece of shit did. He gave up on those kids, and they're dead because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what anybody says, fight me.
You know,
I don't give a fuck.
And as far as I'm concerned, he could be charged for each one of those murders and be given the death penalty for it.
Yep. And I hope he does. I really hope he does.
He was a sad sack of shit. So,
even without a weapon, I would have found my way into that school and at least tried to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've heard people, oh, yeah, you say you do this and do that. It's like, no, actually, even people close to me who are on the other side of the fence say that I'm just a crazy enough person to go try and pull that shit off. Because I couldn't sit back and allow somebody to go on a rampage like that. I couldn't, even at the risk of my own life.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. Especially with kids. They don't know anything about the world yet. They haven't really experienced it. They've had a few years of life. And this fucking douchebag didn't go in there and try to save them.
I mean, he's there because he's supposed to be the first line of defense.
Right.
And he failed.
Miserably. as a death toll and and it shows he didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you're right. That was a short one. But so were some of these other ones. Some of these other ones are actually short. And I just got I got to do it. We got to get off of this whole downward spiral depression type thing and go right into some Miss Potato Head. And what I'm saying is, here we go again with AOC, the wonderful, amazing potato. She says Americans' right to a home trumps workers' privilege to earn a profit. Apparently, she doesn't get that profit is how you afford your home. But she actually said this shit. New York Democrat representative, and thankfully a Democrat representative, I'm sorry, thinks having a home should be a human right. During a recent town hall in the Bronx, New York, the freshman lawmaker suggested that the right to own a home should take precedence over someone's ability to make a profit. Again, not realizing that when you make a profit, you own a home. That you pay your bills.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you make a profit, you're able to pay your bills to keep your home. Because if you don't do that, then you have no home.
Yeah. Well, and she says, what are we doing to make sure housing is being legislated as a human right? Ocasio-Cortez asked during a town hall in the Bronx, New York. It means our access and our ability and our guarantee to having a home comes before someone else's privilege to earn a profit.
Oh man,
it's good stuff. It's amazing that she lived past the age of 3. Because I just picture her swallowing Legos and shit. She's the reason why there's an age limit on everything.
Eating paint chips and
living underneath power lines.
Mm-hmm.
She went on to say that all Americans have a right to dignified housing, which includes things like good heat, clean air, and low noise. Oh, here we go again. Offered at an affordable price. So she wants a housing cap. Progressive Democrats have advocated for a number of policies to provide services they believe should be guaranteed to all Americans. These include things like health care, as many members of the party, including a number who are running for the party's presidential nomination in 2020, have called for universal health care via Medicare for all, which is a fucking big mistake. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren even popped in. Unveiled a proposal to cancel student debt for about 42 million Americans. Okay, they took out a loan, so they owe that money back. I'm not saying that some of the rates are fair, but they took out the loan, so they owe it. I mean, I can't just go and get a loan and buy a bunch of shit and be like, I'm not going to pay it back. Many of these proposals, however, are met with criticism as to how they would be paid for. Warren has proposed paying for her student debt cancellation proposal via her ultra-millionaire tax. Moron. Which would be equal to 2% for those who... Man, why do they write this shit so weird? For those with more than 50 million in assets, but would rise to 3% for those who have assets valued more than 1 billion. Don't own any businesses. If you own a business, a big business, Fortune 500 company, you be fucked under her plan. Ocasio-Cortez's comments come as California is grappling with a surging homelessness problem. Hey, do you want to know what causes that? Look at their laws. Look at look at California as a whole. The number of homeless people in San Francisco has increased 17% since 2017, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, which also noted that the city spends more than $300 million a year to combat the problem. Hey, where's the $300 million come from? Does it just manifest itself out of midair?
Oh, no. I imagine it probably comes out of taxes.
Oh, shit. Higher taxes. Okay.
Higher taxes, yep.
I told you that one was short. Because anything with Cortez generally is. This one, I'm sorry. I want to just go with this. Can you go with this for me? Please?
I got to see where I put it.
Because it's stupid.
Is that one? Yes.
Yeah. The one with the stabby.
Stab.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pokey.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
This is in Palmetto, Florida. A woman there stabbed herself 3 times in the stomach with a kitchen knife because she is tired of living in Trump's country. Apparently, she was found covered in blood Sunday outside of her apartment.
Please go ahead. I know.
This is
where
almost
going.
as good as the kid cutting his nuts off. She's like, I'm tired of living in Trump's country. I'm tired of Trump being president, she reportedly told officers. She was taken to a hospital for treatment. According to police, the woman has a history of hurting herself and has been Baker Acted before. The Baker Act is the Florida Mental Health Act of 1971, which allows the involuntary institutionalization and examination of a person. The woman's daughter was informed about the incident.
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Anybody who's this insane anyway has a problem.
Yeah, they need a padded room.
Yeah, that's a mental health issue. Kind of like the guy that set himself on fire.
Mm-hmm. Or like I said, the kid that cut his nuts off.
Yeah.
Castrated himself.
Fun times we live in. Like, that's not going to change anybody's mind. You go outside and stab yourself, like, Trump. That's not going to make a fucking difference. I lived through 8 years of Obama and didn't stab myself.
May have pulled out a lot of hair, but
that's why I'm bald. See this shit? That's called Obama hair.
Obama hair.
Yeah, see, instead of Obamacare, it's Obama hair.
I see what you did there.
But she shanked herself to protest Trump. Think about that. And I don't know really what she's protesting, specifically even when we talk about California and stuff like that. But, before we go to the California part, let's refer to how and why we exist, which is the mainstream media cannot do their job. They cannot pull their head out of their ass long enough to actually do some reporting. So the alternative media was born. Thank you very much. We're here. We're not doing very great tonight, but hey, we're still here, okay? And we're still going to keep bringing you this stuff. But think about this. The president got amazing reviews from the UK media. They were absolutely kind to our president. They did a great job talking about him and saying about things that he's been doing. While the U.S. coverage focused on the protest, which somebody made a baby blimp of Trump and a couple hundred people surrounded it. Our media, the media from the United States, focused on that, but did not focus on all the good stuff that was being said. Or about D-Day.
Right.
We already mentioned at the beginning of the show. They didn't talk about D-Day either. Now you know why we're here. Because you would never hear about this stuff otherwise. President Trump has received largely positive local coverage of his visit to the United Kingdom, the UK. The American media, as we said, stayed absolutely negative. The Hill and WR Radio said The mainstream media's coverage has been consumed by the protesters of Trump's visit, even though the demonstrations are about a third as large as last summer. In other words, it's been shrinking. More people are, even in other countries, are liking this president and what he's doing and what he stands for. Concha, Joe Concha, is absolutely right. He says all we are seeing basically is the Trump baby blimp, which is getting more coverage than the OJ Bronco. Holy shit!
I loved how he threw that in there.
I really didn't see that earlier when I was writing the notes. He says, I see this constantly. It's typical of what we've seen with Trump. If it's negative, that's what we're going to do, he said. Concha compared the disparity in the coverage by the British and American media with the Jussie Smollett case, where the Chicago media was presenting a different picture than the national media, and that was absolutely true. And boy, he's in a lot of fucking trouble because they found more evidence on him. We're not going to talk about that tonight because that little cocksucker is done. You know, he's done. The show's over. He fucked up. But go ahead.
Concha said that Trump has come across as a strong leader and competent in his appearances alongside Prime Minister Theresa May and Queen Elizabeth II. We're getting way too many opinions based solely on speculation and how people perceive things instead of what people see on their screens, he said, arguing that many mainstream media pundits are characterizing Trump as a buffoon of the world stage. Because, you know...
Which is absolutely not true, but...
Right, but that's the image that they're wanting to...
Yeah, but
of him.
Well, and for those that seem to be constantly getting butthurt over anything that he does and wants to, you know, push this kind of narrative, this product's for you. Anti-monkey butt powder. But I'm sorry, they actually, you know, have a gender on it. It says for guys. So most of you won't use it anyway. Because it's gender oppressive and not gender fluid. But, yeah, go ahead.
But I mean, like, Fox and Friends contrasted the coverage by BBC and other outlets, which focused on Trump emphasizing his, you know, the friendship between the U.S. and Britain. And then you got, like, CNN and MSNBC, which, you know, were bashing him the entire time.
They always do.
Of course, the centerpiece of the trip was to commemorate 75 years since the D-Day invasion by Allied forces in World War II. And I like what Concha said. He said, this is what we should be focusing on, the U.S. and UK coming together to defeat Nazi Germany. I'm not hearing a lot about that right now. I'm seeing Trump baby blimp.
Right, and this almost molds right into the fact that you know, the whole impeachment thing, and they're trying to figure out how to impeach him and stuff like that. And then you got Nancy Pelosi, who literally said, "I don't want to see him impeached. I want to see him in prison." But for what crime? Just because you don't like him doesn't mean he needs to go to prison. You crazy.
I was going to say, does she even know how the...
I was going to say it, but I'm not going to. Go ahead.
I was going to say, does she even know how the whole process of law works? But apparently not.
No, she doesn't. And by the way, even Adam Schiff is backtracking on this. Now he doesn't want impeachment and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yep. Their whole situation is falling apart. And it's glorious. And by the way, you know, I mentioned California, so we got to talk about that too as well. You do realize that with all this hubbub about, you know, Trump impeachment and how everything is supposed to be so terrible and how he's just this evil person, he earned higher marks than state lawmakers in California.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, apparently even the people of California like him more than the California legislature. President Trump is literally more popular with Californians than the state's overwhelmingly Democratic legislature. You don't say, because it's the same here in the state of Illinois. In a state that has been at the forefront of the anti-Trump movement and in which Trump was only able to garner a little over 30% of the vote in 2016. Fuck you. Okay. Voters think better of the president than they do their own legislature, according to a new poll conducted by the Public Policy Institute of California, which, by the way, is the same policy institute that gave rave reviews to Obama and Clinton, and said that Clinton was going to win. So use that for contrast. But go ahead.
Now, this is not to say that the president should be bragging about his popularity in the Golden State. Only 38% of Californians approve of Trump, compared with 60% that disapprove. But for the state legislature, only 34% approve of the job they're doing in Sacramento, compared to the 53% that disapprove of it.
Oh. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay.
Democratic strategists say that a big reason for the unpopularity of the state legislature in California is that voters are seeing very little action from their elected officials amidst a worsening housing crisis and more money coming out of their wallet for things like gasoline and healthcare. It's a reflection of voters not seeing any solutions in sight for the issues that matter most to them, like affordable housing, student debt, affordable health care. That was a quote from Democratic consultant Steve. I have no idea how to pronounce this dude's last name. Mavaglio. We'll go with
Good
that.
luck with that.
He also added, all they hear from Sacramento are proposals for more taxes and more spending for everyone except the middle class. And they rightfully wonder where the high taxes they already are paying are going. Voters are also angered by a slew of proposed new taxes on everything from water to car batteries, despite the state sitting on a $21 billion surplus. The biggest loser in the poll, however, is Congress, which got a pitiful 22% approval and a 73% disapproval, even though House Speaker Nancy Pelosi hails from California. So, Callie's feeling... Is Callie feeling the same tax crunch that we're feeling, or are we feeling the same tax crunch that Callie's getting?
Go ahead. I know you got more. There's plenty more. Right now I'm arguing with somebody.
Oh, somebody arguing. Does somebody have some disapproval?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is getting good.
And what are they disapproving on?
Let's backtrack a little bit here. This person is claiming that there was definitely election fraud and he should be going to jail.
And there's been evidence that there's no proof of this?
This is paying off people to hide an affair and manipulate voters with campaign funds is fraud. There's only one problem with that. He didn't use campaign funds because, he used his own money.
He used his own money.
He used his own money. Sorry for that. And he didn't pay someone off with campaign funds because he used his own money to do so. And no, he didn't. He didn't use campaign funds because he didn't have campaign funds. He was using his own money to run his campaign. He ran off his own dime. That's not campaign funds. That's personal. No, it's not an obvious lie. No, he didn't, you jackass.
You realize what his net worth is, don't you? He paid for his entire campaign out of his own
No, I'm not
pocket.
buying into the lie. I actually followed the money because that's part of my job. And it went right back to his pocketbook. So, good luck with that whole thing. No, it actually matters if it's a campaign fund because they have these PACs. These PACs are campaign funds. Running off your own dime is not a campaign fund. You need to learn how the system works,
Yeah,
obviously.
you honestly need to do a little more research.
I mean, I like it when these people jump on because they show, well, never mind. I don't want to hurt this person's feelings that much. No, actually, I'm doing a very great job, which is why I have thousands of listeners across the country and even in other countries. Yeah, I
Yep.
do a pretty good job at it.
Yep.
So that being said, unless you want to, get your own radio show and try to shut me up, sorry about your luck. No, you count 24 on your little thing. Unfortunately, see, we have the analytics that run right here because we own the show.
Yeah, we get all the statistics across all the boards.
Yeah, we have I don't know, about 5 or 6 different locations that we broadcast to, and according to our little screen here, and yeah, we got a lot of listeners. No, my analytics show actually upwards of thousands because we know how to read and we know how to run our own system. I mean, if you want to make your own radio show and try to prove me wrong, considering you so far have showed that you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground, especially when it comes to politics, go ahead. You're the not the only one that's talking to me, actually. They don't know how the system works, do they?
No.
Apparently they don't. Because, we have YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, Periscope, Spreaker, Facebook, and they don't all show the same thing. I hope you know that because they're all different. They're all different. And we generally only respond to those that we have time for. I'm making time for you because you're showing how ignorant you are in the situation because you think that the president should be tried for something that he didn't do, and you don't know how campaign funds work, apparently, because you can't use campaign funds for personal gain. Yeah, so, and that would be PAC money. No, you don't. That's the problem is you don't know what you're talking about because personal money is separate from campaign money, even if he uses his personal money. And, yeah. It's like, this is impressively stupid. I didn't know you couldn't use personal funds to pay your lawyer. Did you know that? If you use PAC funds to pay your lawyer, then you'd be committing a crime, would you not?
Correct.
Oh, damn. Okay, so I was right all along. I hate when that happens. Either way, if you believe that him paying off some hooker who now has to pay him back wholeheartedly for every dime as a criminal offense, and well, you're too far gone for this conversation to begin with. And if you also believe that, a couple ads that were ran after the election, by the way, to a few thousand Facebookers caused the entire country to uproot themselves from the Democratic Party and vote for Donald Trump, then you are probably about as intelligent as Forrest Gump. You're not giving any reason. You're actually not saying anything that is intellectually stimulating or kind of pertinent to the problem. all you're doing is just making an ass of yourself, really. Because you don't know how the system works, and you don't know where the money went, and you didn't follow it. Yes, you did. This guy here. No, you're not saying anything of intelligence. You're wasting my time. And the only reason why I'm talking to you right now is because I want people to know that there's still ignorance out there. No, I didn't compare you to a mentally handicapped individual. I said you are a Forrest Gump level intellect. Are you reading this shit?
Yeah.
This is good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This is like highlight reel stupid. No, we're not. We're actually kind of fixing their ignorance because people like you are listening to the ignorance on the left, and that's why you believe that there's a crime when there isn't one. You believe in the guilty until proven innocent, when it's actually innocent until proven guilty. Way to go, comrade. Stalin would be proud. I compared him to a mentally handicapped fictional character. No, I compared your intelligence. I didn't compare you to Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump was awesome. You are fucking stupid. I compared you to his, they refer to his IQ as about 70, which is a few points below, public school level, which I'm guessing you probably are because of what you're saying right now. This is good shit, man. I love it when they pop on like this. No, I'm pretty much saying that's what you are. Mostly because of what you said, which is you don't know anything about anything, and you're trying to tell me who does that I don't. That's kind of a leftist thing to do. Yeah, I'm using you as an example of stupidity. I mean, listener Sean's over here in the fucking corner. Mike's over in the corner. Matt's over here fucking laughing his ass off. And there's about, I don't know, hold on a second. Let me check the chat. Because there's, 6 different fucking places that we're going to. Damn, there's about 30 or 40 of them actually talking. See, not everybody talks. Most people just like to listen, and right now they're doing a great job of listening. In fact, half of them that are responding are asking me, one, who am I talking to, and what program are they on? Which one is that? That little fucking thing? Is that Mixer?
No, that's not Mixer.
What is that? Which one is it? I actually got to look. We're on so many fucking programs. I actually got to look that up. Hold on a second. No, that's Twitch.
Twitch.
Well, okay, so everybody else that's listening now knows that you're on Twitch, so you're probably making them Twitch. Because personal funds are personal funds, and campaign funds are campaign funds, and anybody with an IQ over 40 probably knows that already. No, I have too many programs running at any given time to deal with all that. See, we can't respond to everybody at once, but we make exceptions for stupid people. Hello, Oak Rider on... That's Mixer. That one's Mixer. I know that one's Mixer. And everybody knows when fucking YouTube is.
You're right.
And we can't seem to get to figure out half of these. We know what Periscope and Mixer is.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, because we don't really use Twitch all that much, our draw is mostly off of YouTube, Periscope, and Spreaker. Oak Rider, we are actually just about to end the show. You came in right at the end, and we're having a really good, riveting conversation with someone who doesn't know anything about, let's say, campaigns. Yeah. But they're trying to tell us that, the reason why Trump should be tried is because he used campaign funds to hush a hooker who now owes him all that money.
Sounds like something CNN would say.
Yeah. No, really, you don't. We're over here laughing our ass off at you. Are you reading this fucking shit, dude?
Yeah.
Anyhow, we're wasting way too much time on one person. Oak Rider, where are you? Since you're on Mixer, whereabouts in the country are you? Technically speaking, we were supposed to be done about a half an hour ago. We decided to run over. And there's Sean again. There's Mike. Oh, by the way, we didn't mention this. We actually didn't get into this. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Another one of the ass kissers on the left, which would be Seth Moulton, he's impressively strange with his response about this particular topic. He says, if U.S. wasn't racist, Stacey Abrams would be governor. Never mind that she didn't have any ideas for her state of Massachusetts, and nobody trusted her. So once again, we have another Democrat who had tried to paint himself as a moderate, coming off as a total fucking idiot. You know, kind of like that Mixer dude. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm having issues. I'm having
Are you-
technical difficulties. Right
Seriously,
at the moment.
is that fucker twitching out again?
Yeah.
We gotta get.
I think we overloaded it.
Did you kill the battery again?
No, the battery's still running.
You're
It's
plugged in. All
Oh.
right. See now you're going to make me have to lead off on this one again. Yeah. Have you unfucked yourself yet?
Yeah. Well, I got the page to load up.
You sure?
I can't get anything. I can't get it to do anything.
You got the same copy of notes that I do. How do you not?
The laptop is overloaded.
So shoot it. It's dying. It's old.
Yeah.
I already killed the other one the other day. That's why that one's out. And that one's even older than the other one. It's sad. There's some moderate wing that can and will listen to the Trump coalition concerns and that of rural Americans. There's one problem. They're Democrats. They're almost all from urban areas instead of rural areas, which they hate rural areas. They hate us rural Americans, kind of like the cocksucker on Mixer. And they even tried the progressive liberal base would never let them moderate. But why? You must adhere to an ethos that would make Lenin blush. Are you reading this? Oh, Jesus, shit. Representative Seth Moulton, a douchebag of Massachusetts, which is Democrat for Massachusetts. I'm sorry, I keep getting that wrong, don't I? That's terrible, isn't it? Is one of those people. He's running for president. Isn't everybody on the Democratic side?
Pretty much.
I mean, you got Spartacus and Pocahontas and all them. He's running for president. He was against Pelosi for speaker and said that the party is out of touch. Well, in that aspect, we might be in agreement because the Democratic Party is not what they used to be, especially back. Kennedy was a Democrat. Let's just put it that way. He succumbed to election trutherism at a CNN town hall. Not surprisingly, CNN is somehow involved with this. What the fuck are you Just go ahead. Read the transcript. I held on to it. It should be on your screen by now.
Maria Fernandez, hospital patient relations manager, says, "Okay, good evening, Representative Moulton." Representative Seth Moulton states, "How are you?" Fernandez, "I am fantastic. How are you?" Moulton, "I'm good, thanks." Fernandez, "Excellent. All right. I'm done." Laughter. "What is your plan to lead the dismantling of systemic racism in this country to drive justice for marginalized groups, especially for Black and First Nations people? And if you could please Please frame this beyond criminal justice reform. Moulton replies, we have a problem with racism in America today. If this country wasn't racist, Stacey Abrams would be governor because people of color are being systematically denied the most basic right in a democracy, which is the right to vote.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and honestly, that sounded like straight liberal Kool-Aid. You know, maybe it's because this is a support for voter ID laws.
Oh, we don't want to have voter ID laws, do we? We don't want people to prove that they're citizens to actually vote in our country, right? That would be terrible. There goes half the voting base, minus, that person that is still talking like they're relevant in our chat. What the fuck is that noise? Howdy, Oak Rider. Welcome back.
Well, didn't Abrams lose?
Oh, yeah, I think she did.
So
I don't think she made it.
If she lost
It's because she's black.
the election, what's that got to do with anything?
Because
maybe
she's
it's because
it's because she's black.
maybe it's just because she sucks as a.
No, you don't understand, because there was not enough ethnic diversity. That's why she lost, because old white men, right? Never mind that one of us isn't white. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's
She
saying.
lost-
He's
she only-
he's saying she lost because of her color.
But she
No,
only
she lost
lost-
because she's fucking nuts.
She lost by 50,000 votes.
Yeah, it wasn't like a little margin.
Mm-hmm.
It was 50,000. Son of a bitch. I mean, I just don't get it. Go ahead.
Honestly, it just sounds like it's an ongoing tantrum from a sore loser. That's what it sounds like. And it sounds like that it's to the point where they feel like they don't need to even concede elections anymore. It's like, well, I'm running, so I just automatically win.
It's not they don't want it to be a republic. They want it to be a democracy. But they also want to have this inclusion. They think we need to vote people of certain ethnicities in. Which, by the way, I don't give a shit if you're white, black, green, fucking yellow, pink, whatever. If you're good to me, I'm good to you. But if you don't have any good ideas, if you're not going to run off of a ticket that is, let's say, close to the Constitution, or actually would benefit the people of your state, then you don't deserve to make the cut. She didn't make the cut. That's all there is to it. It has nothing to do with her color. It has to do with her character.
Well, even Moulton's was quoted spewing his shitty logic of we don't have to concede elections anymore because when we concede, we are condoning systems that are used to oppress us.
Right.
And it's like, nope, you're just a loser.
Right. And by the way, who's that person? Eshi or whatever? Obama was never presidential when he went around representing America. He bowed down to other world leaders. That does not make him, presidential at all. That makes him a, bitch.
Yeah, we don't bow down to other world leaders.
Yeah, we don't bow down to anybody.
Britain tried to pull that at one point in time.
Yeah, didn't we shoot them in the face on Christmas?
Yep, in the middle of winter at night.
Isn't that a bitch?
Yep.
What more do you got on her? Actually, do we have any more on her?
Let's see. Moulton explained that Georgia didn't elect Stacey Abrams governor not because she wouldn't be a good governor, but because he stated, "You, sir, are a bigot." We have a problem with racism in America today, he said. If this country wasn't racist, Stacey Abrams would be governor. People of color are being systematically denied the most basic right in the democracy, which is the right to vote. Moulton went to Andover and Harvard, unlike you, so he must be unbelievably impressive. Probably a verified genius and a good person, too. Just because you went to Andover and Harvard doesn't make you a genius.
No, we've had this conversation before that little pieces of paper don't make you intelligent.
Right.
Because if they did, then people that I know personally who aren't that smart would be the best. I mean, like AOC. How's that? I mean, Cortez went to college, and she's probably one of the dumbest people I've ever seen in political history. Right next to Jimmy Carter. But, you know, Stacey Abrams has always been a sore loser. She's still, obviously, because with him, they're still digging into this. But she's been a sore loser without any... she claimed that that it was tainted, that the run was tainted, that the race was tainted. And I couldn't figure out why. I mean, I went back through and I was like, I know what she said, but I couldn't find any evidence of it. It didn't make any sense to me, and it still doesn't now. She refused, you know, to concede even when she was clearly, you know, had her ass handed to her. But again, I couldn't find any. When I went back, when I brought up that story, the one you just went through, I couldn't find any evidence of anything at all that she could substantiate herself on, she could stand on. And even right now, I mean, I'm digging through, the transcripts and stuff like that, and I can't find anything. I can't find any reason why she would think that she was wronged other than a fair election. And I'm not saying that all elections are fair. I mean, we look at fucking Florida during Bush. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that wasn't a rig. Oh, shit, you guys didn't see that coming, did you? Because, you know, you think we're all crazy conservatives. The Bush and the Florida ballots. Then again, you know, Obama getting 116% of a precinct, which is mathematically impossible. By the way, he also visited 57 states. I forgot about that, too. But, you know, in this whole run of looking for things, I couldn't find anything that that Stacey Abrams could use that would say that this is what happened to her. So why does it keep getting brought up?
Because she's a sore loser.
Yeah, but what is she going to run for now? What does Moulton think that this is going to accomplish by saying so? Anything? Mm-mm. I mean, do you think this is going to change the election of back then or what?
No, I don't think it'll change anything.
Well, that's just horrific. I was hoping for her to make it.
Yeah, I mean, because she honestly can't muster any evidence to show that her claims are true. I mean, it's not like it's not 1953 anymore.
Well, yeah.
So,
it's because the it's because I'm black argument just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
Just like I mean, I'm not white either. But I keep getting construed as that. The whole white privilege thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one problem. I'm Native American. You, my friend, are white.
I'm half Slavic.
Yeah, okay, so you're full white. Slavic, white, whatever. I am not. But hey, you being actually white, though, I got a question to ask you.
What's that?
Did you get your white privilege package in the mail?
I have yet to receive that damn thing.
I know. I because I'm construed as white, I guess that's why I have to work my ass off for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn.
Yep, same here.
That's terrible. Oh, our little friend ran off because I wasn't kissing them and hugging them. Their last comment was, "You both remind me of why Conservative Party has shifted into moronic status. You were both disgustingly stupid."
Thank you.
Coming from the person that thought that that personal funds were campaign funds.
Yeah. Coming from somebody that obviously has not done any research and obviously has been brainwashed by the mainstream media.
Yeah, see, they kept going. And I finally got to the point where I just started ignoring them because we had other people to talk to. But I like it. This was a good night. But that being said, I guess we are done now that we ran 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're running a little short on time there.
Yep, a little bit. All right, we are out of here. We'll be back next week as usual.
Yep. So be there.
And if you bitches want to come back and try again, we'll be waiting for you. Enjoy.
See ya.